Hey everybody, this is John Barton from JB Cases. I might be the most insecure person you guys know. Um, I'm here today to do a video where I compare a Castillo case to a JB case. Now I've known Gil Castillo, I guess since he started, way back in the day. I was one of the first show I was ever at that I met Gil. I bought a whole bunch of his cases, and the cases now are way different than the cases were back then. But back then they were pretty good. I think I made a video like this before too about the cases. But today I saw a post where somebody said, "Hey, what's better, a Castillo case or a JB case?" And I've been lucky because most of the time when people say, "Hey, what do you recommend for a case?" People will, the majority of the people will say, "JB case, JB case, JB case," right? And I'm really flattered by that, okay? But I also think that we earned it, I think we earned it through a good reputation, through building good products, and so, I feel a little bit proud too when I see that happen. Once in a while, though, we'll take second fiddle to someone. Somebody will put up a direct comparison and they'll say things like, which is better, a Witten or a JB? And then, there'll be a whole bunch of comments like, JBs are great, JBs are the best. And then there'll be a whole bunch of comments that say Witten is the best, or JB is a poor man's Witten. I've seen that. Or, JB's a great case to get until you can afford a Witten. I've seen that, and I take a little bit of offense to that, because I know that these are people's opinions, but very rarely are those opinions actually backed up with anything more than it's just the way I feel, which, is perfectly valid. You can feel that you like something better than something else, just as a general feeling, right? Of course, always. If I say to my daughter, how come you don't like that dish or something, she doesn't always have to have a reason. She just goes, I just don't like the taste. I don't like how it tastes. And by the same token, she likes a lot of things that I don't like. So, everybody's got different taste and a different way of going about it. However, when it comes to cases, though, I take a particular interest in the function of the case, the way the cases work, the way they protect, the way they, how durable they are, and so on. And excuse me for a moment. I'll turn this down. So, because, and I've told this story a lot, when I was younger, I had a case that I felt like protected my cues really well, and then I ended up I ended up buying a case that that was a nice leather case at the time. And honey, can you turn this off for me? Just make sure it goes all the way off.
No sound?
Off, just all the way off.
Okay.
So, because I think this is an important video I need to make, and I need to be clear-headed when I'm doing it. Okay. So anyway, I traded up, so to speak, with by purchasing a nice, what was at that time a nice leather case, nicer than what I had, from the appearance and everything. And I just assumed that it worked. I was young, naive. I didn't know anything about cases. And I just assumed that the case worked the same as the case that I had, as far as retaining a cue and protecting it. And what happened is that I was at a tournament and I opened my case and I get ready to kind of tip it a little bit to get the cues to come out. And I don't do that because I start talking to a friend of mine, and the case is sitting on the corner of the table, and somebody comes and kind of squeezes through, and knocks my case off the table, and my butt shoots out, and it hits the what do you call it? Shit, I'm blanking out here. It hits the metal part of the pool table on the Gold Crown pool tables. You know, these weren't. This was in Germany. I don't know if these were Gold Crowns or not, or some similar table, but it was the same type of metal foot, right? So my cue actually kind of shoots out and hits that and breaks the butt cap. This is before the tournament starts, by the way, so now I'm really pissed off. So anyway, I had to ship that cue back from Germany to America to Sean to have it fixed, and I had saved up for this cue, so I was livid. I was so mad. So what I did was I started looking at the case itself, and I thought to myself, well, how can I make this case work the way that my old case worked, where when the cue went in, it didn't come out, and you actually had to kind of force it out a little bit. You know, you could turn the case upside down, and the cue wouldn't fall out. That case, by the way, was a Porper. You know, they actually the actual brand name of the case was Protect-A-Q case. So it was Protect-A-Q case. And the idea there is that it was an injection molded foam with a tapered cavity, and the cue went in and it kind of wedged itself in there, and then it had all this foam around it, so it would, you know, provide some protection there. And that was my case. You know, a girlfriend had purchased that for me, and then later, you know, years later, I went and a friend of mine brought some of these leather cases back from Florida, and I thought, hey, those are cool. Let me get one, right? And I did. And yeah, so that's what happened. So I did rebuild that interior, you know, and I made it where the Q case did what my old Porper did. And then when I was done with that, I thought to myself, you know what? I don't really like this case, like this style here. Like I bought it because, you know, that's what all the players had and so on. But I thought to myself, what if I can build the whole case? Like I can take what I did to the interior, I can modify that and make it even better, and then I can build a whole case around it. But the only problem was I didn't know anything about sewing. So I borrowed a sewing machine from my then girlfriend's mother, or not mother, but her aunt, and she taught me how to thread it, and so I, you know, made the first case. I still wasn't good at it. I was not a tailor or, you know, a sewer, and so I went out and I looked for someone to help me with that, and I found a shop that did like luggage repair and fur coats and things like that, and then they helped me to build a couple, and eventually I hired somebody to help me, and then we just kind of went on from there. But the main driving force for me personally to be in pool cue cases is not because I wanted to build pool cue cases necessarily. It's because I was driven to build what I felt was a better case than anything that was on the market. And the name of that company was InStroke Cue Cases. Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you maybe not. InStroke is still, the brand still exists. In 2003, I sold out my remaining interest in InStroke. There's a backstory there. There always is. But suffice it to say that I was out of InStroke at that time after approximately 12 to 13 years. So I waited, 4 years or so, and then I started another company in 2007, which is JB Cases. And at that time, all I wanted to do was just kind of build whatever I felt like building, work on some interior stuff, and I was working for another company, and they sent me to China to, I'm getting ahead of myself here. They sent me to China to help them to build better cases and, source other products and basically be quality control over there because they liked what I did with InStroke. So while I was there, as part of this job, I set up, a little workshop in my apartment. And that's what became JB Cases. And eventually we moved into a bigger shop, which is where we are now. So we've been there the whole time. And that has grown into what you guys know as JB Cases today. So, full disclosure on that, we have about, 25 people. It fluctuates, between say 27 and 23 people around there. People come and go. They take leave, whatever. You guys understand that. The point of it is, though, is that we stay right around 25 people. We stay pretty busy. So luckily for that, that's a not a bad problem to have. And so, all of that is great. Life is going great. The company's going great. We're at the size we want to be. Everything's perfect. But like I told you at the beginning of the video, I'm probably the most insecure person that you know. And the reason for that is, part of the reason for that, as far as goes to Q cases, is I think sometimes that my message really isn't getting out there to folks, and I'm beginning to understand that, I often use a phrase that goes like this. It goes, there's an ass for every seat, So every chair made, there's somebody who thinks that chair is just the cat's meow, the best chair ever built. Fits their ass perfectly, right? And then there's a bunch of other people that are like, man, it's not really for me. So I'm beginning to understand, that it's not all about hitting on the function part of this. It's not all about hitting on the protection part of this, or the practical part of a pool cue case. Sometimes it's just an overall feeling, But still, when I see comments like, I had a JB and I upgraded to a Castillo, well, I'll be honest with you guys, that kind of just hits me right here, because I think that we're better than Castillo. Sorry, it's competition, right? Well, in a competition, you gotta get out there. If you're a runner, you got to get out there and run faster than everybody else if you want to win that competition, right? I was a diver in high school. I was a springboard diver. So I understand how it is. In springboard diving, you're being judged. It's not even, there's technical stuff. Obviously, if you go flat on your back, you got no chance to win. But among the best competitors at the meet, the difference between winning and losing could be a few points, and that could be a judgment call, based on some of the judges. So you could be technically perfect and still lose on style. You know what I'm saying? So some days the best diver, might be one guy, and the next meet it might be someone else, and they kind of flip-flop and rotate there, because they're technically both great. And one day the judge likes the style of one better than the other. So I understand that. I get it. I get it when people say, I just like how that looks, or I just like how it feels, or something like that, or the leather's really nice, or something along those lines. But I still have to get out there as a competitor, and I have to say to you guys what it is about our cases that I feel is better than anybody we are being compared to. As much as I like and respect those guys, at the end of the day, it is a competition, right? If you've only got so much money to spend on a case, then I want you to spend it on ours, And if you're out there, telling people that X brand is better than ours, I understand that's your opinion. I get it. But I have to get on here like I'm doing right now. I feel compelled to do this. I have to get on here and go through these points, point by point, to show why I think that we are the better value. You may not agree. You may look at my points and you may say, I don't agree. I think that they're, whatever they do that's comparable is as good or better than what you do. That's perfectly fine if you want to agree to that. If that's your position. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily right, but you can have that as an opinion if you want it. You can have all your own opinions. You just cannot have your own facts. So what I'm going to show you guys today is based on facts and not based on opinion. And when it's based on opinion, I'll tell you that, and I'll tell you this is my opinion. It's not it's just a judgment call, So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it here. Hopefully I am recording still. Good. All right. So you have 15 minutes of listening to me just sit here and talk. So I've got here a Castillo 3x6. And I've got a JB 3x6. To make this as comparable as I can, I picked one that I happen to have that was a similar color scheme. Now it won't be a 100% apples to apples comparison because I don't actually have a case available right now that has leather in the same places that this one has leather in, but I'll just tell you the pricing on it and so you guys can understand where we're at, okay? So a couple things that I need to preface here. The case that you guys know as the rugged model, that's this model right here. Okay, what you guys know as the rugged model, we were the first to come out with a case like this, okay? That looks like this, that has the same styling, that has handles like this, backpack straps like this, and so on, right? In this whole package. We were not the first ones to do backpack straps, although I did do backpack straps back in 2007 on a few custom cases. I've done them on prototypes and I've done them on cases for other companies that I've designed. But I was not, when I had InStroke, I did not have a case with backpack straps. So I want to make that clear because there's other companies out there that had backpack straps before we did. Thailand, God, it's slipping my mind. Talisman cases had backpack straps. Jim Murnak cases had backpack straps. So backpack straps are something that, some case makers have put on. When we went and did our first cases in around 2007, 2008, I went with backpack straps on some of the models that I did for Sterling Gaming. And then I extended that to this model. And then, of course, we've done lots of leather cases with backpack straps. So some will make and I'll show you the zipper type backpack strap that he put on here, which is pretty clever, by the way. Good adaptation to the case. But I just want to make that clear that, we were not the first to do backpack straps. And that actually brings up an important point because my philosophy on this is this. Anybody who builds anything should always be looking at what other people are doing in that space. And if other people are doing something good that is good for consumers, right? Good for the users, then they should adapt as much as they can, legally. I mean, I'm not saying go steal anybody's patent or infringe on people's patents. But if it's an idea that's kind of public domain and it makes a good, there's a good reason to go ahead and incorporate it in your product, then go ahead and do that. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't consider that to be copying in the sense, in a negative sense. I consider it to be copying in a positive sense where you, the maker, are doing the best job you can for your customers. Okay, so I want to be clear about that there are elements of cases that all case makers use, that they have borrowed or taken from someone else. Sometimes it's just pure design theft, if you will. They're just trying to make something that looks like or approximates or kind of has the same styling as somebody else. And sometimes it's not design theft. I wouldn't call it that. I would call it design improvement, even if that improvement came from another company, because that's an important distinction right there, because there's lots of companies now, not lots, but there's several companies that are knocking off our rugged look. So the overall look of the case and the feel and certain elements on the case, but they do a shitty job of it. So they've not given any improvement to the customer what they do is they deliver a case that looks like it ought to be as good as ours, but actually the case is not made anywhere close to the same quality level. And more disturbingly, the interiors on these cases are often pretty much fraudulent, in my opinion. You know, they have an appearance at the top that looks like ours, but when you open the case up and you start to look at the interior, you find that it's very, very deficient and actually kind of dangerous because they don't understand the design the way that I did it. And by leaving off half of the padding, they've made the case actually more dangerous for the Q than if it had no padding at all. In a sense, you know, and I've explained that in other videos. So I want to be clear that, you know, when I make this comparison to Castillo, there are certain things that I'm going to say are good design innovations, improvements. There's going to be things that they did that he might have even done before us. I'm not sure. I can't remember when he first came out with the zipper backpack strap the way that he has it. But I certainly have never done it on a commercial case. I've done it as a prototype because those zipper straps, those types of zipper straps have been available on bags forever. As a matter of fact, let me see if I have one here. Probably not. Oh, I think it's inside. I think my girls took it. But I have you know, have had several bags. If I pan over here, you guys can see this whole line right here. All of this stuff in here, this whole wall back here is filled with, see if I can get in there and you guys can see it. All that in there is filled with bags that I have bought for testing purposes, you know, to study them and understand them and see if there's anything that is done there that we can use. And a lot of times I have taken things that have been done on those bags and incorporated them in our cases, you know, because I don't think there's any shame in that. I think a lot of these companies that produce these bags are multi-billion-dollar companies. They have engineers out the ass. So, you know, they've got designers and tech people and prototype people. So, yeah, if they want to, you know, do that, which they're going to do anyway, then I should be able to just study what they do and incorporate what I like into our cases. And by the same token, and this is the gist of it, by the same token, other case makers turn around and implement the things that we do because they like what we've done or they see that it's popular. And therefore, all that knowledge that I've gleaned from studying other bags and putting them into our cases and innovating and iterating, you know, doing little changes and little tweaks here and there and improving over the years, some of that eventually makes its way into our competitors' cases. So one thing that I'm proud of is that I created a brand new interior that no one had ever seen before. And as you'll see in this Castillo case, the interior that they have in here has some similarities to what we've done. And that's a direct result of the fact that our case got so popular with the interior that I made that other case makers started to adopt that, and Castillo is one of them. Now, he may dispute that, they may dispute that, but I don't think there's any real dispute on it. If we were really to go back through a timeline of which cases appeared when, it would be pretty clear that we were the first to do this type of interior, and all other similar looking interiors have followed us. So yeah, I'm taking credit for that, you know, and I will take credit for the things that I know that we created and brought in, because here's the thing. How do you as a consumer know who did what? You don't, right? And then when opinions are flying around that, you know, XYZ case is an upgrade over BYD case or whatever, then you don't know if BYD case was actually the ones that innovated whatever it is that you like about XYZ case. You don't know if BYD case actually innovated that and maybe even does it better than XYZ case. So anyway, let's jump right in, okay? first of all, let's talk about the JB case, okay? Because I want to show you guys some features on here that I think are super important. All right? First of all, protection. This is a really simple one, right? It's when the case is in this state right here, when you put your cues in it, your cues should be protected from excess movement. It should be protected from rattling around. The parts should be protected from each other. And that's what we've built into this interior. Now, I created a removable and easily removable interior. Okay, so you can reach your hand in, just like this, pull up, and this pulls out like a cassette. This is the whole interior right here, the padded part of it. So you've got extra padding here, you've got extra padding here, and you've got one layer of padding going through the center. Because of that, your cue is in a kind of a suspended state in here once it goes in. It's protected from all the other parts, and protected from slamming against the sides of the case, slamming against the other parts, and any of that. This goes inside of a hard shell made of pure PVC. You'll notice that ours is white. The reason that ours is white is because it means there's no unadulterated materials in there. There's no adulterated materials in there. So a lot of times when you see black tubes, and I learned this the hard way, a lot of times when you see black tubes, it's because they've dumped a lot of recycled stuff in there. Now, that could result in a pretty durable tube, or it could result in a tube that has a streak or an air bubble going through it, and you don't know it. You know, so it could crack easily, or it could hold up forever. Kind of gambling there, and I learned that the hard way. So now I get pure PVC tubes made from pellets that have never been used anywhere else, and that's what we use. And I found that to have the consistent strength and durability that I want to see in a case. Okay, so let's put this back in. And this is so easy. Goes in just like this. Put it in. And all you do is you take your fingernails and just very gently pull it up until it kind of slides in. It'll slide in place like a puzzle piece. And then when you put your cue in, the Velcro at the bottom will catch it. Industrial Velcro at the bottom will catch it, and then the interior will be nice and snug in there, and this is what it looks like. See how nice that looks? All right. So I feel like protection is the number one reason to have a cue case. And to that end, I feel like that we do a real good job with the protection that we put in the case. The next thing is durability. The case should just not fall apart. It should be able to hold up to normal use, normal daily use. And I feel like that we've done a real good job with that. Everywhere that you see there's a stress point, everything is reinforced on here. So there's nylon pieces under the leather, for example. There's extra reinforcement behind here, so when it's sewn on, this is actually sewn on twice. There's one piece under here that's sewn on, and then there's this top piece that's sewn on above it. So just really strong and durable. And then our nails at the bottom, which I'll show you in a moment, those nails are barbed nails. So when they go in, they bite, and they're very difficult to get back out. So I hate it. If anything happens to the case where I have to take the bottom off, I absolutely hate it because it's it's just a real pain in the ass. So that's why it needs to be made super strong. Okay, pockets. I'm getting ahead of myself there. All right, so durability. There you go. Comfort. All of my handles are made to fit your hand. when you roll your hand. So when you roll your hand around this, it fits in your hand. It feels nice. So you can sit here and hold this for a long time without feeling any discomfort. You see that? When you wrap your hand around it and you squeeze it tight, there's no discomfort there whatsoever. So that means that you can stand there and hold your case like this. Just hold your case. You can have a conversation with someone and there's no need to move your hand. There's nothing pinching. There's no sharp edges. Nothing is bothering you. That is very important to me. That's comfort. That's ergonomics. That's something else that I study when I build the cases. That's why we don't stop with just, our first version of something. Coming around to the straps, we have a dog bone shape here. So the dog bone shape is the most widely used shape for straps for bags where people have to carry a lot of stuff, okay? So it's either the dog bone or it's going to be the reverse S, like you'll see on some backpacks. And the reason for that is it means that when you put this on, it wants to go in towards your shoulder here, not away from your shoulder. So that's really important because when you're standing around at a pool tournament, you don't want to have to constantly have your body hunched like this in order to to keep the case on your shoulder. You want it to just sit on your shoulder naturally and stay there where you put it. And if you use the backpack straps, you want those straps to push in towards your neck, not be trying to move off of your body, where you're constantly having to do a little shimmy to adjust it. So comfort is super important. So what did I say? Durability, comfort. The next thing is customization. Actually, ease of use. So you'll notice our pockets are big and generous here. So one of the things is on our pockets is not only are they big, but they can be bigger. They can be any size you want them to be that'll fit on the case. But look how the pocket is fully lined in here. So that's fully lined with the same fabric that we use inside the case for the cues. Anything with Velcro will stick to this. So you can get any number of accessories either from us or make your own that'll fit right in there. The jump cue part of this has a padded sleeve. Padded, so it's protecting your jump cue from everything inside. And it has a separate compartment. Now, some of our cases have a pocket tray, which offers even better organization. And in those cases, we offer a padded jump sleeve that Velcros in anywhere you want to put it. Same thing with the padding. So that's a $10 accessory that you can get anytime, and it will go into people buy them for extra jump cues. They buy them for extensions, whatever. By the way, we're custom, so we can make any size in those sleeves that you want them to be. So once again, I have a big pocket here. This pocket here, also very generous. Easy to get to, easy to get into it and get everything that you need and see everything, no problem. And then on the top here, we have a smaller pocket for small stuff like quarters, joint protectors, things like that. All right? And you'll notice that each of our cases comes with leather, color-coordinated zipper pulls. So there you go. Now the last thing is custom. We're a custom maker, so we can make cases to the size, the length you want. We can make it to hold as many cues as you want, within reason. With my plastic tubes, I can only do up to 4x8 right now. We're working on doing bigger sizes. With the butterfly styles, we can make as big as you want it to be. That's practical. The largest one I've made under JB cases has been 12 by 24. Or no, did I make it 24? Oh, I think 12 by 24 is the biggest I've made so far. But we could do a 16 or a 20 cube case or whatever. They just get bigger. So So yeah, those are the main points with the JB case. You know that I think make the JB case pretty good. Where are we at? I've been talking 35 minutes now. Yay! I haven't even gotten to the Castillo yet. Okay. So now, let's make our comparison to the Castillo. Now that I've given you the points on this, I can't pause this, can I? Yeah, I can. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the Castillo case now. So, starting with the size. This is a 3x6 case. And as you can see here, that ours is also a 3x6. Fall over there. This thing is almost perfect here with the height, and it's, you need to raise those cabinets up a little bit. Okay, so let's do this. Let's pull this out. That way we can have something to set this up on. All right. So let's go over this point by point. All right. Over here. Okay, we got the JB case on the right and the Castillo case on the left. Stand up. There we go. All right, so going over these two cases point for point, let's compare them. All right, so let's go over the obvious things on here. First of all, both cases have 3 pockets or so on the front. This one has a much smaller pocket from the width here. They look to be about a similar height on the pockets. Castillo says that theirs is I believe they say theirs is 16.5 inches. I don't know if I have a tape measure here easily available. Let's see. Well, apparently all my rulers are gone, so here we go. All right, so we're going apples to apples here as much as we can. So this one has a, let's see what that says there. From the bottom here to the pocket it says 16 and so we'll say 17 inches. And this one has from the bottom, I want to say 16.5 to 16.75 inches. Okay, so about 16.5, 16.75 here, about 17 right here. Now let's take a look at the inside of these pockets. Now this pocket here, this one is 7 inches, slightly over 7 inches. This one is 5.5 inches. The width on this one is 4 inches. The width on mine is 4.5 inches. And then up here we have a 3.5 inch pocket. What is it? Should be 3 inches. So about 3.25 inches that way, and about 3.25 inches this way. So we call that a 3-inch pocket. All right, now let's look at the interiors on these pockets. Okay, so starting with the JB. Again, I'm going to show you this pocket. This pocket zips all the way around. It opens up like a book. And it has an extra sleeve here for a big padded sleeve. Well padded, by the way. Let me push this out so you guys can see this. Okay, this is a nice thick padded sleeve right here for a jump cue handle or whatever you want to put in there. And you'll notice that everything in here is protected. When there's a jump cue in here, it's going to be fully protected from anything else in the pocket. All right, and then again, these pockets are fully lined, nice and soft. Anything with Velcro can fit inside there, and we have lots of accessories that you can purchase that will fit right in there, like phone case holders, chalk holders, joint protector holders, and so on. All right, now let's look at the pocket on this one. So, what I like about this, nice sewn zipper tabs on here. That looks really nice. Can't comment on the it's hard to comment on the quality of the zipper. Now, we use YKK zippers. We use the what are considered to be the best zippers on the planet. That's what we use. Anyway, this is also a book style pocket. Opens up like that. You'll notice here that this is just the back of the foam rubber right there of the fabric. Same thing here. It's the back of this fabric. That's it. So you don't get any Velcro in there or anything. And plus this can get torn up after a while with sharp edges from things inside the pocket. Could possibly happen, but it feels pretty durable, but it's not Velcro. The inside here is the same bottom here. There's no extra lining. So basically you're just directly on the case right there. You've got no benefit. Can't use anything with Velcro, put it on there. And then the sleeve here is just a thin piece of this same material, but this is also kind of rough in here. You can't feel it. I mean, obviously I can't show you how that feels inside, but I promise you that if I were to hand you a piece of this material right here that makes up this jump sleeve, I promise you that you would not want to rub this on your cue. Okay? I mean, that's just how I feel about it right now, but I'm pretty sure that if you stuck your hand down in there, you would not want to rub that on your pool cue. So some people have expensive jump cues. They don't want to see them scratched up or dinged up. I think that ours protects way better than this simple sleeve right there. But that's just me on there. So the zipper itself, I mean, that's a number 5 nylon zipper. So I don't know the brand. Don't know if it's YKK or not. Let's see what it says on the bottom here. So no, that's not a YKK zipper. At least not the zipper head. So that's something, between you guys. Now, the size of the pocket, I think our size is much bigger, more generous. So I think that we win there, my opinion. Let's go to this pocket. Okay, so this pocket comes with a sticker. So if you don't have enough of the logo right there, you can put a sticker anywhere else. So this pocket has, let's see, it doesn't open all the way on the side like ours does, so it's kind of a 3/4 opening right there, as you can see. So a little bit more difficult to get into, my opinion, to see everything. Once again, not lined. Does have a label sewn in right here. So it has a label right there. Nice label, by the way. Feels good. Can't really read this part of the label though. Maybe you guys can read it. I can't read it. The bottom part of the label, it says, let's see what it says on the sticker here. Handcrafted leather products. Handcrafted. So I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to say right there, is handcrafted leather products. The label itself looks pretty nice. It looks kind of high end, so I like that. But I think our middle pocket, also definitely better. My opinion, easier to get into, more storage. Velcro can fit in there any way you want it, and so on. Okay, that leads us to the next pocket. So on this pocket here, we're going to combine these two and this, okay? This has a small snap pocket on here. This is for, I guess, a piece of chalk or a couple pieces of chalk. You can kind of stick them in there and have some chalk right there. Now, that's not a bad idea. I mean, chalk is something that people want to be able to get to quickly, so that's cool. And then we've got 3 elastic bands on here for joint protectors. Nice feature on there. I personally don't like the way that this looks on here, but from a feature side of it, that's pretty good. Now, you get both of those things here with this pocket as well, and more capacity to do the things that you want to do. So I'm going to call this part right here, this pocket versus these 2 spaces, I'm going to call that one a draw. Okay? Even though I think that this is a more flexible pocket. Okay, I like the idea of having dedicated thingies here. If people want that, they can get that from us. If you wanted to trade this one pocket for two of these, we're happy to do that for you as a custom maker. But we'll call that a draw. Okay? Now, next thing is going to be the handle. All right, let's go with the handle since it's right here. So earlier I told you guys, remember I told you guys comfort matters? I can barely get my hand in here. This will barely pass my hand right there. And I'm here, I'll put it in this way so you guys can see it. See where it sticks right there on my hand? So I can barely get my hand in there. But the other thing is that when I hold this like this in my hand and I squeeze, it's already hurting my hand. I can't stand here like this without having to constantly shift this. You know? Now I'm not being nitpicky here. This is a real thing, right? Comfort is measured. There's a science to this. It's called ergonomics, right? It's the science of comfort. Look it up. In my opinion, anyone who makes bags and cases and things like that has a duty to make their stuff as comfortable as possible, so that it can be held comfortably for longer durations, because you just never know what you're going to come up with, right? You could be standing in line at a pool tournament waiting to check in, right? And you're holding onto your case and you're constantly shifting it and you're constantly fiddling with it and futzing with it here. And unbeknownst to you, all that excess movement fatigues you. Every time that you do this, every time that you're constantly just moving this around, you're using up a little bit more energy and a little bit more energy. And if it annoys you, now you're using up mental energy as well. So I don't think that that's a good way to do this. Now, I've told Gil this before, and he got upset with me, and more along the lines of, who are you to tell me what to build on a case or whatever. And that's fine. I respect that. You're the maker. You make it how you want it. I'm giving you guys my opinion on why I think that our handles are better. Why I think that these handles are better than these handles. Now, to be fair, let's grab a leather case. Let's grab a leather case and look at that. Okay, so where did I put the other leather case here? Let's find one. Okay, here's the leather case. So this is a leather 3x6. This is what it looks like when we do leather handles on our cases. Same thing. You go through, you wrap your hand around it, comfort. Nothing to hurt your hand, nothing to bother your fingers or any of the fleshy part of your hand as you wrap it around right there. So I think that, for example, this is a much better handle, a much more durable handle, and most importantly, a much more comfortable handle. Same thing for our leather handles on top, as you can see here. We always try to make them ergonomically comfortable for the user. All right, moving on. All right, so let's look at the backpacks now. Okay, backpack straps. All right. So Gil wants Castillo does two straps here on a big D ring, and he has a zipper, a pretty neat little zipper deal here that zips down and becomes a backpack strap. That's a neat idea. I think it's pretty cool. I personally would change it up and make it more comfortable, but pretty cool. He's got suede on the back here, which is also great. That makes it relatively non-slip, so that's nice. He's got some kind of feels like an EVA foam in here, so that's good. So all that feels pretty good right there. The strap setup here and everything is pretty cool. I think let's see how easy it is to adjust it. So if I have this on my shoulder and I want to adjust this, I can grab it down here and kind of pull up, and that adjusts pretty good right there. And if I wanted to go down, let's see, could I do that from having it on, or do I need to take it off? Let's see. So it feels a little bit cumbersome right there to get the adjustment, but once it's adjusted, it feels like it's in a pretty good spot on there. The sewing and everything appears to be pretty good on there. He's chosen to go with like a two strap solution here, which is basically two parts. So you've got this part here, and then it loops around to this part here with a ring here. Now the ring itself isn't really the right size for this, but I mean it works, so you know, that's just a matter of taste, more or less. You know, now I personally would find a ring that fits closer to that, and I might want to get a little heavier duty ring. Now I'm just curious on here whether this ring is a molded ring or it's a split ring, and it appears to be a split ring. And I'll show you right there what I just showed you is why I don't use a split ring. Okay, pay attention now. This is important, and I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to sabotage this case for points or views. Right? These are things that I have learned over the years as a case maker to avoid. So this has a little split ring in it right here. So basically what happens is the more you use this case, the more that these rings can get bent, and like a paper clip, they can get out of shape. And then suddenly you've got a situation where you have a sewn piece here, so you can't put a new ring back on it without getting another split ring and putting it in there. And you'd be kind of SOL on that, unless you want to put another split ring in it. Now, if you go with us, for example, let's see if I can find these rings in here and show you the difference. These are the type of rings that we use. Now remember, I'm talking to you guys about quality, you know, and quality has to do with all the parts on the case. So that's a molded ring right there. You'll see that there's no break in that ring. That's what happens with our rings here, here, and here. No break in the rings. Now, I don't know if I don't know if on this case right here. Let me fix this real quick. So those of you that ever have this problem, you can see what to do here to fix it. So all we're going to do here is we're going to put that back in. Make sure we got it all aligned right. I want to. right, there we go. Now we got that back in. So now what I'm going to do is just take a pair of pliers here, and we'll just squeeze that back where it goes. All right, do I have a pair of pliers here that I can do that with? All right. I don't have a pair of pliers I can do that with right here available easily, so I'm going to leave it like that and I'll fix it later. But there you go. So, overall on the backpack strap there, you know, I would say that it needs a few small improvements in my opinion. But it seems to be pretty functional, seems to work okay. And yeah, I mean, you know, fairly easy to repair as long as you use the split rings right there. And he's got snaps on here, which is good. So it's got line snaps right here, which is very good. I prefer to use those as well because they're easy to fix if something goes wrong. You know, it's easy to take the strap off and put another strap on. So that's good. All right. Let's look at the actual attachment points here. So this is looks to be fairly durable on here. I don't know if there's anything under this right here to make it more solid. I don't see anything right away. Let me turn this on. Turn that on and see what I can see here. So I don't see anything, but I do like this, okay? About this case, I like the idea. This is my preferred way of attaching these points so that you have, no matter which direction this is going in, it's actually counterbalancing on both sides. And I like the way that there's rivets in there. That seems to be pretty durable. This doesn't seem like it can move, so that's good. So even if this is a split ring in here, because it's not able really to move that much, unless this is not really reinforced right here, it's not really going to pull it out. So that looks like it could be durable for a while. Good job on that one. Once again, though, I don't have access to Castillo cases that are 5 years old, 6 years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. So I don't know how that holds up in the field. Okay, but it feels pretty good. So I imagine that with normal use, that's probably going to hold up pretty well. So good job on that part. All right. Now, let's talk about the way we do it. So I have backpack straps here. You'll notice I have a similar deal here with the ring being able to go either direction. Underneath this leather piece, we put nylon to reinforce it. So you don't have to worry about that ever coming out right there. These are molded, not split. So you got that. And then on our cases where we have a single strap, we have a big D-ring. And let's see if I have one of those here to show you. Let's see. I don't know. There's one right there. Okay. So here, on our cases with a single strap, we have a big D-ring right there. So if you decide to get another strap, you can just simply put it on the same way and it will work. And we have a similar deal here with the way it's sewn up. And then it's actually reinforced under here, so you don't need the rivets on the outside. But it is as strong or stronger than what was done on the Castillo case here. Okay, so the next thing is ease of use for adjustment. So here I have this adjusted all the way to the top. All right, so here, this is how this is adjusted right now. So if I want to pull this down, all I have to do is take 2 fingers and pull down, and now I've made it longer. If I want it raised up, then all I have to do is hold underneath, put my fingers underneath, and then just pull up. Same thing, put 2 fingers on here like this. See my fingers? Holding it underneath the buckle and just pulling away from each other. You see how I did that, right? Let me show you again. Want to pull down? Pulling down, all you have to do is grab a hold of it, pull down. Pulling up, You grab underneath the buckle, right here on the inside of the strap. Pull up. So you can adjust that easily while it's on your shoulder. I think that that's a plus. Okay, some people may not care. They may be like, you know what, I don't care. I'll fiddle with this. I'll put it on the table, and then, you know, some people struggle with that too. So I think ours is a little bit better than this, but I don't think that's a deal breaker. Okay, so I'm not gonna really quibble about that, but it does go back to what I said earlier about ergonomics. Okay, all right, moving on. The bottom of the case. On our bottom, we have industrial rubber on here. This is rubber that I found in a store that sells to the industry where they do like high voltage and industrial kitchens and stuff like that. And I found this rubber comes in big rolls, heavy as hell. And I thought, you know what, that'll probably be pretty cool for the Q case. If it's sturdy enough for this industrial application, it should work pretty darn good for us. So that's where I got this rubber, and that's why we were the first ones to start putting rubber bottoms on the cases like this. And that is sewn in and nailed in. Okay, so now I've taken the interior out and showed it to you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom of this one off, and I'm going to show you that, okay? And we're going to look inside of it. So let's do that. But other case makers started copying us and knocking us off with the rubber bottoms, which is fine. Again, I talked about, you know, innovation that's good for the customer. So if they steal our rubber bottom idea, take it, not steal it, take it and use it. Great. That's good for you guys, the customers. All right. So on that, I'm happy to see that that was done. I'm not so sure about what this rubber is on here. So see what I just did is I started to peel it. See that? See how easily that comes? This is a brand new case. That I'm not impressed with. I am not impressed at all with that right there. What just happened? That needs to be way better than that. So now you got these little nails left there. These are the wrong nails for this application, by the way. So those are just nails with no head in them like that. I don't know if this case has nails in the bottom or not. Sometimes we did, yeah. So we use, on this one, we use the same nails that we use for the sides here. Barbed nails go in, don't want to come out. Very important. But you'll notice on the other case here, we have it sewn. But you know what? Check this out. That's not just sewn. It's sewn and glued. And I'm going to show you that here in 1 second. Let me find some. In 1 second. We've been rearranging things. Don't make videos without having stuff all right where you need it. Dang it, John. Sorry guys, all this stuff is usually right at hand. Let me see if I've got some down here. Okay, that's crazy. All right, bear with me for 1 second. Here we go. All right. This is what our bottom looks like. First of all, thick piece of wood right here. This is sewn to this nylon. The nylon is stapled and glued. So this is what it looks like. You'll notice here when I grab this, very difficult to peel on this. Durability is super important. You know? That looks like it should be super durable. But in fact, it's nowhere close to what we actually put on here. Now, I hate to do this because this is a brand new case and everything, but I want to show you something. This is what happens when you put nail perforations through here and it's barely glued. I'm going to get embarrassed. Look, it's actually decent. Good. I like that. Actually, you know what? I thought I was going to do something embarrassing to Castillo by tearing this up, but I'm actually impressed that that's actually seems to be tougher than what I felt, because one of the knockoff cases, by the way, I'm not saying Castillo's a knockoff, one of the knockoff brands uses something that looks like this, but it crumbles in your hands, right? That I'm actually impressed with, pretty good. But I'm not impressed with the fact that the nails are wrong in there and that it's barely glued on there. So Gil, if you're watching this, I'm sure you'll watch it later. I would recommend that you do a better job. You tell them to do a better job of gluing this. And if you're going to use nails, get some different nails, because those aren't good nails for this application. All right. Let's take these nails out and see what we're doing here, okay? So that's good. I'm actually happy to see that with the with that rubber right there. Because one thing I don't like is I don't like it when they copy us and then they don't do a good job on it. So if this was attached better at the bottom, this piece actually, this material, very good in my opinion right there. I mean, it didn't tear up very easily. See, I'm trying to poke the screwdriver through it, and it's coming through, but it was actually tougher than I thought it would be. So pretty good right there. Okay, decent. All right. Sorry this video is so long. It's always long, but I think it's worth it when you guys are thinking about investing and protecting your cues. You know, I think that that's super important. Now these nails right here, folks, these nails are not going to come out as easily. These nails will not come out as easily on okay, on ours, and I'll show you that in a second. This is what the nail looks like. And those are not good nails for these cases. Again, I learned this through experience. But it's fairly easy to take it apart. So if you try to do this with our case, what I'm doing right here, you're not going to be a happy camper. That's another reason why our removable interiors are good, you know, are a really good choice. In addition, if you ever want to change your interior, say you want a different configuration or something like that, then you could go back to us and you could say, hey, I want to change this 3x6 into a 3x4 or for example, a 3x8. You know, and then all we have to do is just build you a new interior and you just pop it right into your case. Gil's probably going to be mad at me for doing this video, but like I said, I'm insecure and I want to make sure that things are compared fairly. Alrighty. Take this out. Just make sure I get these out so I don't hurt myself while I'm reaching in the case. You know, there'll be a lot of people pleased if I hurt myself here. Alright, let's look at the bottom of this. First of all, so let's compare these wood pieces that we have here. Okay, this is the bottom of the case. This is the wood piece that's in here. So, fairly thick piece, like that, that's good, you know. Comparable, right? Not bad. Got a piece of closed cell foam on there, also not bad. So I like that. That's good. Now what I don't like about this, as we can kind of see right here a little bit in this case, I think this case was used a little bit. You'll notice here, the foam is already starting to get torn up a little bit. See right here? It's already starting to get torn up a little bit. Now let's take a look in comparison to what we have. We have high density foam right here with Velcro sewn to it on top of this piece of wood, as you can see right there. And we've actually done this in reverse now, where we sewed the bottom on here and put it on this way. Now on this side, we sewed it onto this nylon and put it on the other way. So this is like just overkill for making sure that these pieces do not come apart. Very important. Now remember earlier when I told you that this is your interior, right? That's the Velcro that matches right here. So look at that bond. Look at that bond that's on there. Okay? That's what happens when your case goes down, when your interior goes down and it seats right there. It sits just like that, forms a really tight bond, not going anywhere. Very important. Okay, so I think that based on these two, this is pretty good. But with these shitty nails in here, okay? With these nails and the bottom being on just like this, what happens is every time a cue hits this bottom, it pushes these nails a little bit. It wiggles the nails just a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Eventually what happens is that bottom does this. Eventually what happens is the bottom wants to do this right here. This is the way the energy is directed on here. This is the way that the energy is directed. Pay attention. That's what happens every time your cue hits the bottom of this case, because these nails are so weak. Because those nails are so weak, what happens is it wants to push it out. So I don't think that that's a very good way to do this. Oh. Sorry. I don't think that that's a very good way to do that one. Stay there. Stop moving. So, moving on. As you can see with ours, now I'll show you the comparison on the nails, okay? So it'll be clear to you what the difference is. So these are the nails that we use. So, great, good job, John. You guys see those barbs? I forgot what the actual shank nail, I think they call it, ring shank nail. Okay, now let's compare it to this one. You see the difference? When these nails go in that we use, they are really, really hard to get out. As a matter of fact, they're so hard to get out that I'm actually considering going to like screws or something where it would be easier to unscrew the bottom in the rare occasions that we need to put a new bottom on. But I have got no plans to go to anything weaker than that. But with those types of nails, those nails I just showed you, those decorative nails, those are no good for this. So eventually, I'm going to make a prediction, right? This is just my prediction. Again, I don't know. I don't see people talking about this. I've never actually seen one. I'm going to make a prediction, though, based on what I know of case making, that bottom will get weaker and weaker over time. Okay? All right, next thing is the glue on this wasn't very much around here, so that's another thing. I would say this needs to be glued better in here to really stick inside of there and help it to stay inside. And then, let's see. So the next thing is here is, let's compare the top of the case and the bottom of the case. So this is what you see when you look in the top of the case. Right there. You see something that looks similar to ours with the way that it's built, with the padding and everything. And this one is, what, 3x6? 3x6, 4x4, whatever. Looks like you could fit a 4 in there. But anyway, so you got extra padding right there, same as us, except, let's see. Feels like it goes down about the same as ours, so about 3-4 inches. Then we get to the bottom though, and you'll notice that it's all just one layer right there on the bottom. So what's good about this, it does go all the way to the bottom. So surprisingly, there's a lot of knockoffs out there that don't go all the way to the bottom. Don't know why, but they stop right about here. This one goes all the way to the bottom, so that's good. That means that there's actually something in between all of the cues. Now you'll notice here that this is out a little bit, but that's not really that big of a deal because it really can't go anywhere. But it's still kind of bothersome a little bit. Now, we go back to ours. This is the same as the top, just reversed at the bottom. So it goes all the way, all the cavities go all the way to the bottom, as you can see here, same way. But your cues, when they go in, they have padding here, double padding, and they have double padding here. So your cue, when it goes in, it can't physically hit the bottom of our case with any significant force. So even if the cue were hitting the bottom of our case, it wouldn't be hitting it with the same amount of force as this, and then it would be arrested by the shank nails that we have, the barbed nails, by the fact that our padding is it's glued together, so one unit right there. So the cue itself is getting stopped as it goes down, and then it just gently makes its way to the bottom. But even so, our bottom is done much, much stronger than this bottom. So, when you talk about durability and longevity, I believe that based on what I know of case making and based on what I see here, that our cases will last a longer time. Now, I saw that Gil gives a lifetime warranty. I don't know what that means on his. So if his bottom comes out or falls out, does he replace it for free? I don't know. We do. So if our bottom comes out, falls out, which has happened, which led to me improving the case and making it even stronger, we will fix that for you for life if that happens, Now, the only thing that we don't cover is normal wear and tear. So if you wear down the rubber on here, a lot of people drag their case. That's not something we cover. So we will replace it for a small fee, but it's not under warranty, okay? So if the rubber though disintegrates or comes apart, anything like that, which has happened, then of course we'll take care of that. So okay, so I think, that we offer better protection. Now, another thing is that when this comes down, this is also the webbing inside the fabric here. So that has a chance to disintegrate and cause, small bits of foam rubber to be inside the case. Ours is fully lined. The same liner that we use for the interior, the same liner that you see here is the only thing that touches your cue. So as you look down in there, that liner extends all the way down the same way. So all the way around your cue is this liner. Not partially this and partially webbing, this liner. So if I handed you some of this webbing and I said, I want you to rub your cue with this. I want you to take your cue and I want you to take this webbing and I want you to rub it on your cue, right? You wouldn't want to do it. But if I take our liner that we use and I say, rub that on your cue, you'll have no problem with that because it's evident to you that it's nice, soft cloth that's not going to do any damage whatsoever to your cue. So I think that that's important, to know that. Now, Castillo does not make his own interiors. He buys these interiors from somebody, as far as I know. So let me back up on that and say, as far as I know, he buys these interiors from someone else, which is also not really a problem. But you guys should know how they're made, because that's important. These are the things that you can't see, right? So you can look at this and you can be confident and happy with this part of it, right? Let's see if I can get that focus to come in right. You can be happy with this part of it and feel confident and good, but the thing is you'll never see this part unless the bottom comes out. But with us, obviously, you can pull this out and you can feel it and you can see it. You can even, if you wanted to, you could even cut this open and see exactly what I'm telling you on there. So, and by the way, we've not always done it that way. But that's an example of continuous improvement that we do. And because we do produce our own interiors, we have the capability to mix it up and change it whenever we want to. So the interior that you get today from us is the very best interior that we have ever been able to make. And it's based on lots and lots of iterations that have come before that. If a case maker buys an interior from me, that's the interior they have to use. They're not making the interior, so they can't really make adjustments to it. If they want adjustments made, they got to tell me. I'll make it. I'll send it to them. There they go. So this is an example of a case maker who has approximated our interior without incorporating the innovations that we have put into the interiors over the years. So at the front, it looks like our interior, but at the back, does not look like our interior. So there you go. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say? Oh, capacity, I guess. Let's take a look at that. So this is, okay, we'll take this and put it back in. We can make sure we get the right capacity. Okay, so I've got that even right now. So that is 30.5 inches. Okay, just so you guys make sure you can see what I've done here. I put that in right there where it's even and flush. So this fits 30.5 to the lip of the case. And then inside here, this is just about 1.5 inches. So it looks like possibly, we'll call it 1.5 inches. Right there, here, I'll put it over here so you can see it. All right, 1.5, we'll say 1.5. So 30, what would that be? 32 inches total, right, is what you have in here for your capacity. So your total capacity here is going to be 32 inches from here to here. Not bad, okay, not bad. Now, what is ours? Let's take a look. So ours is make sure we get all the way to the bottom there. Ours is 31. What does that say? 31.5 inches. Right there. So there's 31.5 right there. It's 31.5 here. So you get an extra inch in the body. Let's see what the lid says. What's the lid say? The lid says just shy of 1.5 inches. So you get 32.5, 33 inches. So you get another inch of capacity by default. By default, in our cases, you get another inch of capacity in our case. Is that meaningful? I think it is. You know, we rarely come across a case where the Q won't fit in our case. But if it does, we have options, right? We can make the lid taller. We can make the body longer. We can make the body a little longer and the lid a little longer. Whatever you want to do, we can do it as far as the capacity of the case goes. That's a custom case for us. So, and I'm sure that there, within some parameters, Castillo can do the same thing. Okay? Again, though, I don't know if he makes his own tubes. I don't think he does, but if I'm wrong, you know, let him answer that somewhere. But if he doesn't make his own tubes, it's much harder for him to make a case that is longer, in my opinion. If the tubes are coming in pre-cut, they might not come in. If they're coming in not pre-cut, sure, he can make them any length. So I'm not willing to say he can or can't do something right there. I'm just saying that from a standard point of view, ours by default are 1 inch longer with capacity, and they can be as long as or as short as you need them to be. So, and again, we do make our interiors, so therefore we have the capacity to instantly make whatever someone needs on that. And he may have that capacity as well. If he has, if he's actually making the interiors and getting the tubes uncut, then yes, they would have that same capacity as us. All right, what else here? Anything else? I think that's pretty much it for today. You know, I think I've went over everything pretty thoroughly. How long do we have here? An hour and a half. And you know, the length of this video is another thing, right? So I could do this probably in like 10-15 minutes, but then it would feel kitschy. know, it would feel like I was just trying to hit some quick points. And in my opinion, I think that this warrants a longer, deeper discussion. And most of you won't even make it to this point. So if you made it to this point, congratulations. But my thing at this is, as a fan, as a pool player and a mid-range pool player, we invest in our equipment. We like nice things, you know. Cues can be, you know, $500 to $5,000, $10,000 now. So I think that they're worth protecting. And I think they're worth protecting correctly. And I think that you build the protection around the cue and then you build the case around that. And to that end, hopefully I've proven to you today, as a practical matter, why JB cases are better point for point than Castillo cases. Having said all of that, knowing what I know now about the Castillo case, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem carrying my cues in there. I would say, however, to Gil, do something about the bottom. You know, fix that, because that is an issue where that bottom can come out and then the cues are sliding through a ring of nail points. And believe me, nobody wants that. That has happened to me on another case. Even as a case maker, you know, one time I threw my cue into a case that was a knockoff of a Witten just to transport it to get it refinished. And the bottom came out and the cue slid through a ring of nail points and scarred it deep into the wood. So even the refinish didn't come out right, because there was actually, you know, it was that bad of a scrapes coming up from the bottom, from the butt cap all the way up to the forearm. So I would advise you, Gil, to fix that part of it for sure. But assuming that someone's using the case kind of in a normal manner, not slamming their cues in, I think that will probably hold up halfway decently. But I would if it were me, I would definitely fix that and address that issue right now to make sure it can pretty much never happen. Okay? So that's it. So there you go. That's my comparison to the Castillo case and the JB case. Now, I didn't get into price on there. Prices on our cases are somewhat comparable. We are a little higher on some models. But again, with everything that comes with our case, I think that the investment is really negligible when you're comparing the two cases for what you get with a JB case and what you get with a Castillo case. I don't think that like $50 should be a deal breaker on there. Now, I do like the style of the Castillo cases. Some of them they use really great leathers. Gil, nice guy, wonderful guy. You know, good case maker, good businessman. Always love hanging out with him. So again, folks, I don't think that you're going to have that much of a problem with a Gilbert Castillo case. It says on his website he has a lifetime warranty. I don't know what that entails, but he's a pretty stand-up dude, so I'm pretty sure that means that if there's ever a real problem, he'll stand good for it. Okay, well, that's it. That's as comprehensive as I can be. And there you go. John Barton signing off. Bye-bye.